Good morning guys. So today's video is going to be a makeup tutorial, as you can probably already tell by the way we're sat down, from the thumbnail, from the title, from all that good stuff. I'm actually really excited to film today's video. I want to do something a little bit more, almost a little bit more natural than what I would usually do on my channel. I kind of want to create an everyday, like easy to do summer makeup look. And I think I'm also going to do my hair in this video as well, because my hair was actually coloured very recently. I've gone quite a lot lighter and I've really been enjoying it curling it recently, and I've had a lot of questions about how I do that, so I thought I would show you guys as well, even though it's like super simple and super easy. I've got a couple of breakouts at the minute as well, as you can probably see, which, you know, love that for me, thank you. So I'm actually not going to be wearing foundation today. I'm going to be doing everything skin wise in terms of creams with concealer, which again, just want to like mix it up a bit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be using my Benefit Precisely brow pencil, of course. What is new? I pretty much use this every time I do my makeup. So I'm going to be using the shade 4, which, to be honest, I could probably do with a lighter shade now that I've like lightened my hair a little bit, but you know what? We're just gonna go with it. It's fine. And I've been filling in my brows a little bit differently recently. I've been trying not to make them as like arched, because I naturally have a really high arch to my brows anyway, but I've been trying to make it look a little bit softer. So I kind of extend the tail a lot higher and a lot more towards like my hairline, rather than coming down towards the corner of my eye. And then I just kind of conceal the, oh, hello. Yeah, so I kind of just conceal the bottoms after I fill them in, because I have a little bit of leftover microblading, which is why there's still a bit of shape there. So it covers really easily with concealer. Then when I get to the front, I just kind of like flick up a little bit and just create like hair-like strokes. Okay, and then to prime the eyes, you guys know I always love to use concealer. And as I said, all of my skin part of the video in terms of the creams as well is going to be all concealer and no foundation as well. So this part of the video is actually in collaboration with Maybelline, which I'm super excited about. So we're going to be using the Instant Anti-Age Eraser Concealer. Maybelline, hands down, do my favorite concealers at the drugstore. They're super affordable for the price. They're really good in terms of the quality. Coverage wise, this concealer is amazing, and it blends out like a dream as well. And the thing that I really love about it is it kind of is like a do-it-all concealer. So you can use this to prime the eyes, which is obviously what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be using it for now. You can use it as a foundation. You can use it obviously as a concealer, and we are going to be cream contouring with this as well, because you guys know I love to use a cream for bronzing and warming up the skin too. So we've got a bunch of different shades here. As you can see, they very kindly stocked me up on a bunch of new shades. They did actually extend the shade range not so long ago as well, which is amazing. So to prime the eyes and also clean up the brows a little bit as well, because this is also great for cleaning up any little mistakes like eyeliner and brows and things like that. I'm going to be using the shade Honey, which looks like not honey, sorry. I'm going to be using the shade Nude, which looks like so. So this is what the concealer looks like. You've probably all seen it a million times. It's got a cushion applicator, which is really lovely. It's actually really soft on the skin, which I love. And then you pretty much just want to twist the product up, and then it will start to come out at the top. So the way I like to use it if I'm going to be doing something like concealing or something quite precise is I'll twist it up and then kind of just apply it on the back of my hand like so. I don't tend to apply concealer straight to the lid anymore, because it dries a lot quicker, so I just prefer doing it this way. And then I'm going to go in with the brush that I always use for priming the eyes, which is the Makeup Forever, oh god, I don't even know what this is anymore because it's wiped off. I think it's a 230, and I'm just going to start applying that to the lid. You'll see as well, so like you can see where I've got a little bit of leftover microblading, but this actually covers it really, really nicely. So I kind of start off like on the lid and get the base amount of colour on. You can see that like it just starts covering straight away. Like this concealer is so good in terms of the coverage, but it's not heavy or anything like that. And then once I've done like the base part, I'm going to start going around my brow, which I actually really struggle to talk when I do this because I don't want to mess it up. And then I always go in with a sponge afterwards just to make sure there's no creasing on the lid before I set it in place. And I do always set concealer on the lid just so it doesn't crease. Like if I'm going to use a base, then I won't, but majority of the time I use concealer. So the powder that I've been using recently is also by Maybelline. This is the Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Mine's like crusty and dusty now. This is actually from the video where I tested a bunch of drugstore products, and I'm still obsessed with this powder. Like I love it so much. So the shade I'm using is 105, and I'm just going to set that in place on the lid. This part's not sponsored. Any of the Maybelline products that I use in this video aren't sponsored, just so that you know, only the concealer is, but there are many that I also love, so I'm going to use them as well. And then I'm also just going to set my brows in place with a little bit of Anastasia brow gel, just so that the hairs don't fall down. To start off on the eyes, I'm actually going to use a MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, which is something I really love to do, especially in the summertime, just because it's a lot easier. It's really good for travel as well if you don't want to take as many products. So this is in the shade Dark, and I'm probably going to use this on the skin later as well. So I'm just going to take this on a blending brush, and we're going to start with this in the crease. Kind of just wing it out a little bit as well towards the brow, just because it helps to give your eyes a really natural lift. And this is pretty much the only colour we're using in the crease, so I just want to make sure that it's built up to like the depth that I want it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do shadow wise. Like I said, I wanted to keep it super easy, so we didn't actually even use an eyeshadow, we just used a bronzer. I am going to do liner, but I'm actually going to use a brown liquid liner instead of black, because again, I just think it looks a little bit more natural, and I feel like a brown shade is actually really, really nice for summer. So this is the Benefit roller liner, and I'm just going to be using this to create kind of a smallish wing. Like, I don't want to do anything super crazy like I would if I was going out and doing a really glam look, but I'm just going to use this to create the wing shape, and then also just to line the upper lash line. Okay, so I am going to take a little bit of the excess concealer that's on the back of my hand. It's kind of dried a little bit now, just to clean up this edge. Okay, and then again, this is a bit of an extra step. Like, by all means, just put mascara and lashes on at this point, or just mascara if you want to do that. But I'm going to go in with a little bit of Brown Script by MAC, just because it's a tiny bit warmer, and I'm just going to go over the top of that liner, because I don't want it to look too dark and also too like put together, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to kind of use that to like smudge it out a little bit. You just kind of want it to be a little bit more of like a smudged liner instead. I feel like you can already see the difference a tiny bit. Yeah, I'm just going all around the wing as well. Like, I'm literally even doing this underneath bit, just so it kind of looks a bit more smoky and a bit more like smudged out. And then again, you can go in with the concealer anytime and just sort out that line. Okay, so those are the eyes complete. Really simple to do, I feel like. It's just very undone, which I love. And obviously, if you want to make it more natural, you can take away any of the steps. Like, you don't have to do the whole wing or the liner or anything like that if you don't want to. But you know me, I always like to be at least a little bit glam. So I'm going to go ahead and do mascara. I'm just going to use the Maybelline Falsies, and then I'm also going to pop on some lashes. These are the unicorn lashes in the style Stormy. They're just really gorgeous and fluttery. So again, if you want to do just mascara, that's absolutely fine, but I love applying a lash. So I'm going to pop these on off camera, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, eyes are done. I'm going to move on to skin. So to prime the skin, I'm going to be using the Benefit Professional Pearl Primer. This is the one that's a little bit more moisturizing and hydrating than the original Professional, which for me is right up my street because I have dry, like normal to dry skin. So I'm going to apply some of this to my cheeks and also to my forehead as well. You only need like a really tiny amount. Honestly, these breakouts have been driving me crazy recently. Like, I have no idea what's going on. It's one of those, like, since I've come off the pill, like trying to actually find the best way to like regulate my skin, it's just not easy, you know? So I feel like we're gonna need all the pore filling we can get today. So as I mentioned, we are going to be using the Maybelline concealer all over the face, because this is a do-it-all concealer. It can literally cover your dark circles, conceal your under eyes, it can add warmth to the skin, it can cover any areas of the skin that you want it to cover, which, let me tell you, I feel like I've been getting no sleep, and the fact that my skin is breaking out, like, we definitely need some TLC today. So I've got the shade 11 to add warmth and to contour and bronze with, and then we've got the shade Fair, and we've also got Nude as well for concealing and covering dark circles. I think I'm going to mix Nude and Fair under the eyes, just because I want a little bit of a brighter under eye than I usually would today. I don't know why, I'm just in the mood for a bright under eye. So I'm going to apply Nude first underneath. It's overall going to be a little bit darker than my face anyway, because I have got some tan on my body, so I kind of need to match it to that. And then I'm just using the shade Tan just on the areas where I want to warm up and contour. So that's pretty much cheekbones, around the forehead. Obviously this is a lot darker than my skin, but don't worry, it's all going to work, it's all going to blend. And then I'm actually going to use a little bit of Nude just underneath and in the areas where we've not got any other product, just so that when it all blends into one, it kind of creates like a medium shade in the middle. So I'm just going to be using a brush, just a buffing brush, on the center of the skin first, just to kind of get that base layer blended in, and then we can kind of blend the darker shades in afterwards, and obviously the concealer as well. The thing that I love as well is the fact that this concealer's got such good coverage. Obviously I've got, like I said, some blemishes and stuff on the go at the minute, and usually I would want to use foundation on them, but because this concealer already has a great coverage, like I don't need to worry about using foundation because it covers so well anyway. Something like this would be great for travel as well, because obviously if you're going on holiday, say if you're only taking hand luggage, or you just want to pack less anyway and you don't want to pack like bulky foundations, then you can just take a couple of shades of this and it just makes everything so much easier. I'm going to use one brush for that, and then I'm going to take a different brush for the contour parts and just start buffing those in. You notice that I'm leaving concealer for last, and the reason I do concealer and the under eye last is because as this concealer dries down, it actually gets obviously drier, but when it does get drier, the coverage tends to increase a little bit as well, and it tends to move a little bit less. So it's actually a really good hack if you want a little bit more coverage in some areas, to leave that area to the last bit of blending. It actually makes your skin look so smooth as well. Like obviously we've also got the Benefit Primer, which is helping, but I feel like it's really smoothing on the skin, which I love. Oh my god, I got a new piercing yesterday, or not yesterday, sorry, I think it must have been the day before now. But we were at an Urban Decay event and they were doing free piercings, and I was like, say no more, I am there. So I've got this little hoop, which is the second on this ear, and I do still have two on this ear on my cartilage, but I always forget like how sore they get when they're healing, so I literally can't sleep on that side of my face at the minute. It's so annoying. I'm just going back in with the first buffing brush that we used as well, because that's got a little bit of the lighter concealer on, so it kind of just helps to soften any of the darker shade that's looking a little bit too intense. I mean, how stunning does that look? I'm sorry. Suddenly like wondering why I haven't done this more often, because that actually looks like a dream and it looks airbrushed. Okay, and then as I said, the under eye was saved for last, just so that coverage is kind of set in and it's dried down a little bit more as well. So I'm just going to use a beauty blender for that, because I always do under eye with a sponge. Let me just talk about this skin, because it actually looks airbrushed. What the hell? And I've not even set it down yet. And then to set, I'm going to use my YSL powder, which you guys know I love. So I'm just going to press that underneath the eyes. Okay, let's talk about it, because I can't see a single pore. And suddenly this is literally going to be my everyday makeup routine, because what the hell. And then for the rest of the face, I'm going to use MAC Studio Fix. This is NW35, so it's actually a little bit of a darker shade than my skin. So I'm pretty much just going to use that to set kind of like the outer portion of the face, because obviously we used the loose powder in the center. And then I'm going to quickly finish off the under eye, which again is super easy, because we're just going to use the same shade that we're going to use to bronze in a second. So this is literally what we used on the lids. Obviously, you just want to keep everything balanced. I mean, you could do like a really fun pop of colour on the lower lash line if you wanted to instead, but because I'm trying to keep this a little bit more simple and day-to-day, I'm just going to kind of match what I did on the top. And then I'm also going to use a little bit of the brown script shade as well from MAC, just on kind of like this outer part of the eye. I'm really like in the mood to go to Alton Towers. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like as soon as the weather perks up, like I really want to go to Alton Towers, because that's literally one of my favourite things to do at home, like in the UK. Okay, and then we just want a little bit of nylon as always. No makeup look, no eye look is complete without a little bit of nylon. It's just so gorgeous. And then I'm going to use that same brown, that same dark mineralized skin finish on the rest of the skin, but we only really need a tiny bit, because obviously we've got the darker Maybelline concealer there as well. Okay, and then I'm going to use a little bit of my Maybelline Molten Gold highlighter on the tops of my cheekbones, just because this is a little bit of a warmer shade, which I really love for this type of look. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the shade Diamond Glow just on top. Don't want to use too much, because it's a lot more like a pinkier, like silvery tone. So I'm literally just going to add some where I want to lighten. Okay, blush wise, I'm going to use Fairly Precious by MAC. This is such a beautiful shade. It's really nice for summertime as well. It just kind of adds a little bit of warmth and a little bit of shimmer. So I'm just going to use that to mesh the highlighter and the bronzer together. Oh my god, I realised when I uploaded my last makeup tutorial, which was like the prom one, I forgot to contour my nose. I don't know if anyone noticed, but oh my god, I was editing it and I was like, you know when you just know like something's not quite right? I was like, I've definitely missed a step here. And then I realised, I was like, I have not contoured my nose. Like, am I okay? No. So I'm going to use a little bit of Hoola by Benefit and just the Makeup Forever brush that I always use. And I'm just going to apply that down the sides of my nose. I literally just concentrate on the very sides. And I try and keep it kind of precise, but also blend it at the same time so it doesn't look super harsh. Always do this bit as well, because this is literally like what makes it like 10 times better. So I just go all the way underneath. Under the sea. Oh my god, I went to see Aladdin the other day with Mads. So good. If you've not been to, can I speak? If you've not been to see it yet, 10 out of 10 recommend. Like, it was so good. The casting, everything about it was just like spot on. So I'm gonna use one of these by Maybelline because they sent these over not too long ago and I've not tried them out yet. So this is the Maybelline Super Stay Ink Crayon, and this is in the shade Lead the Way. Oh, I like that. I kind of want something that's like a Your Lips but better colour today, which is why I'm using more of a pinky shade, because again I just feel like it looks more natural on the face. So I'm going to use this to line my lips and also to fill them in as well. I'm going to use this as the whole lip colour. Oh, they're very creamy, which is nice. Really creamy on the lips. And then another little concealer hack for you. I'm going to take the shade Fair. As we've said, this concealer can literally do it all. And I'm just going to take a little bit on the back of my hand, and then with my ring finger just gonna take some and just pat it on the center of the lip, and it just kind of makes your lip look a little bit more pouty because it adds a lighter shade to the middle. Jordan loves to do this as well. I always see Jordan and Steph doing this step with their lips and adding concealer, and it's one thing I always forget to do for some reason, but it just makes your lips look a little bit more pouty and full. Okay, of course I'm going to use Urban Decay setting spray. You guys know I can't live without this stuff. It's my favorite thing to do at the end. So this is the all-nighter spray, and I'm just going to apply this everywhere, and I apply quite a lot, so don't judge me. Okay, so this is the finished makeup look. I am also going to curl my hair as well, so I'll quickly show you how I do that, because to be honest, I can actually do this, like if I'm desperately in a rush and I need to do it ASAP, I can do this in like 10 minutes. So you're just going to want a heat protectant, a dry shampoo, and also some hairspray of course as well. That's literally all I use when I do this. So I'm just going to quickly spray my hair with some heat protectant before I go in and curl it. And I'm literally just going to partition this into two sections. So I'm just going to take away the top layer of hair, and then I'm going to use my Newie wand just because I feel like this helps to hold a curl really well. But I'm literally just going to curl everything away from my face. You kind of alternate the curls if you want to add like, I don't know, a little bit of texture or make it a little bit more different, but I kind of like everything to go away from my face just because when it drops out as well, it drops out a lot nicer because it all kind of just melts into one, which I really like. I can't get over how smooth my skin looks. Like, I'm sorry, but as I'm curling it, I'm just looking in the mirror again and literally, like, I can't remember the last time my skin looked this good. Like, because the thing is, like, when you've got blemishes and breakouts and stuff, obviously, like, it helps covering them with makeup, but you still see the texture a lot of the time, whereas I literally cannot see, like, any texture on my skin. Like, my skin actually looks airbrushed. Okay, so those are the first lot of curls. Like I said, I can do that quicker if I want to, if I'm really in a rush. Like, for example, when I was going to London the other day and I was running so late, like I actually ended up missing my train anyway, so there was no point rushing, but I managed to do this whole hairstyle in literally 10 minutes because I was just in that much of a rush, and it still held like pretty well. I'm just holding them on for a bit longer today just because I have got the time to do it. So okay, so once that is all done, I'm just gonna really gently like kind of shake it out a little bit. I'm not gonna do it too much because obviously like it's only just curled and it's still kind of setting down in place, but you can see already, like, I feel like it just creates a really nice soft curl, and then we've got like the looser bits at the end. And then one thing I really love to do is actually just take a little bit of dry shampoo And I'll kind of just spray this at the root just to add a little bit of volume and texture, and it also does the job of like keeping your hair oil free as well. Okay, and then very last but not least, you saw that I didn't do lower lash mascara, so I'm quickly going to put some of that on. Just going to use a little bit of Maybelline Falsies, and that, boys and girls, is the finished look. So my hair will tend to drop a little bit more than this before I go out. This is obviously like, it's freshly curled and it's very curly. But you kind of get the idea and you get the gist of it. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to Maybelline for sponsoring a part of this video. I had so much fun working with them and using the products, and honestly, like I've said it so many times, but I don't think my skin has ever looked this flawless. So concealer for foundation is officially the way forward for me this summer. I don't know about anyone else.